When The Princess Bride premiered in 1987, many viewers fell in love with its fairy tale romance, swashbuckling action, and razor-sharp humor. But as beloved as the final cut remains, its journey from page to screen was far from simple. In fact, there's a fascinating story behind one alternate ending, a conclusion that almost made it into the film, but was ultimately scrapped. The alternate ending, what might have been? According to behind-the-scenes accounts, the filmmakers originally planned a more sweeping finale for The Princess Bride. Rather than the relatively intimate resolution we see in the released film, the deleted ending would have amplified the stakes, offering more dramatic closure and a grander sense of defeat for evil. Details are sparse and somewhat speculative, but the gist is this. The big ending would have included a more physical, more epic confrontation, possibly even a final showdown involving larger-than-life elements. The story's tone would have shifted from cozy fairy tale charm to broad fantasy spectacle. Why the change? Practical concerns largely drove the decision. The biggest obstacle was the size and presence of one of the film's stars, Andre the Giant, whose massive stature wreaked havoc on the logistics of the proposed grand finale. As reported, quote, "The ending of The Princess Bride would have looked very different, but Giant's size caused some problems. Because of these difficulties, from staging to safety concerns, the filmmakers backed off, favoring a simpler, safer ending that still delivered emotional satisfaction without risking injury or unworkable stunts." Why it was cut, practical and safety concerns. At the heart of the decision were the very real limits of film production. Andre the Giant wasn't just tall, he was enormous, famously billed as the eighth wonder of the world. Meeting his size demands on set required extraordinary measures. As the cast and crew discovered, staging complex stunts, especially a larger-scale final battle or dramatic collapse, could pose serious risks. One source bluntly notes, "Giant's size caused some problems when trying to execute the ambitious ending." Budget and logistics also undoubtedly played a role. Elaborate stunts, safety rigging, and special effects are expensive and time-consuming, and often exponentially so when accommodating a non-standardly large actor. The simplest solution was to trim their ambition. Tone and audience fit. There was also the matter of tone. The alternate ending, with a potential for high drama and fantasy spectacle, may have veered away from the film's sweet spot, a witty, charming fairy tale romance with a comedic edge. When adapting for the screen, filmmakers have to balance fidelity to the source material with the expectations of the audience, the limitations of the medium, and the general sensibility of the film. In cutting the grander ending, the team preserved a thematic consistency: love, friendship, wit trying over brute force, rather than a physically overwhelming final battle. The result was emotionally satisfying, tonally coherent, and practically feasible. What the released ending gets right. The theatrical version of The Princess Bride delivers a conclusion steeped in closure and hope. The villains are vanquished, friendships affirmed, love restored, all with the film's trademark warmth and humor. That resolution feels personal rather than cataclysmic. Some argue the ending works better than a blockbuster-style finale ever could have. By focusing less on spectacle and more on character and emotional payoff, the film leaves the audience feeling uplifted, unified with the protagonists rather than exhausted or overwhelmed. Let's talk about some other fun facts you might not know about the movie. The story that almost wasn't. Released in 1987, The Princess Bride is now considered a beloved classic, but its journey to the screen was anything but smooth. The film is based on the 1973 novel by William Goldman, who also wrote the screenplay. He spent years trying to get the movie made, with several failed attempts and abandoned studios along the way. Ironically, the story's themes of perseverance and true love mirrored its own struggle to exist. When it finally premiered, it received modest box office success, only gaining legendary status years later through home video and repeated TV airings. Casting miracles and mishaps. One of the film's most iconic roles, Wesley, played by Cary Elwes. He endured a surprising amount of physical punishment during filming. Elwes was injured multiple times, including a toe injury, migraines from the Dread Pirate Robert's mask, and even a near-fatal accident involving an ATV. Andre the Giant had severe back pain and could barely stand for long periods, so many scenes were creatively staged to accommodate him. Despite this, cast members have said Andre was one of the kindest and funniest people on set. Swordplay worthy of legend. The famous duel between Wesley and Inigo Montoya is often cited as one of the greatest sword fights in movie history. That's no exaggeration. The scene took months to rehearse. Cary Elwes and Mandy Patinkin trained extensively, performing most of the fight themselves with minimal stunt doubling. The clever dialogue woven into the duel, "I am not left-handed," was intentionally designed to keep the scene playful rather than violent, reinforcing the film's fairy tale tone. Quotes that became immortal. Few films are as endlessly quotable as The Princess Bride. Lines like "as you wish," "inconceivable," and "hello, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die," have transcended the movie itself and become part of pop culture. Interestingly, Wallace Shawn, Vizzini, has said people still shout "inconceivable" at him decades later, even though the word is repeatedly used incorrectly in the film, which is part of the joke. A cult classic forever. Director Rob Reiner said that fans often told him The Princess Bride was their favorite movie of all time. Its unique blend of romance, comedy, adventure, and self-aware humor makes it nearly impossible to categorize, and that's exactly why it endures. The grandson almost wasn't Fred Savage. Fred Savage, who played the sick grandson, was already well known from the Wonder Years, but his casting came with a twist. Because he was still a child, filming had to be carefully scheduled around school hours, which meant many scenes with Peter Falk were shot in short bursts. Falk, who played the grandfather, would often stay in character between takes to help Savage feel more comfortable and keep the performances natural. Their warm chemistry wasn't heavily rehearsed, it grew organically during filming. Relocations, real discomfort. Many of the film's outdoor scenes were shot on location in England and Ireland, including the Cliffs of Insanity, which were filmed at the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland. While they looked breathtaking on screen, the conditions were far from ideal. High winds and cold temperatures made filming difficult, especially during fight scenes. The wind was so strong that crew members had to physically hold actors steady between takes. The sweeping scenery may feel magical, but it came with very real challenges behind the camera. Behind-the-scenes humor. The playful tone of The Princess Bride wasn't limited to the screen, it extended behind the scenes as well. Rob Reiner famously tried and failed to make Andre the Giant laugh during takes, once bringing out a group of wrestling friends in an attempt to amuse him. Meanwhile, the cast bonded so closely that many have described the production as feeling more like summer camp than a movie. Billy Crystal, who played Miracle Max, improvised many of his lines, repeatedly breaking the cast and crew into laughter and forcing multiple retakes. One reason The Princess Bride remains timeless is that it feels different depending on your age. Children are drawn to the adventure, giants, and sword fights, while adults appreciate the satire, romance, and witty commentary on storytelling itself. The framing device, a grandfather reading the story to his skeptical grandson, perfectly captures this multi-generational appeal. Each viewing reveals new jokes, clever wordplay, or emotional beats that may have gone unnoticed before, ensuring the film never loses its charm. Decades later, The Princess Bride continues to inspire books, stage adaptations, and endless fan tributes. Its refusal to take itself too seriously while still delivering heartfelt emotion makes it a rare kind of fairy tale, one that celebrates love, loyalty, and laughter all at once. In short, it's mostly dead proof that some stories truly live forever. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think you would have liked that alternate ending, or is the movie perfect as it is? Let us know in the comments section below.